Hey fam, I'm Melly. It's been a while, hasn't it? This last month, it's been rough. You know, dealing with the damage from Skyward Sword, not being able to take off the hat. Wind's trying to take it off, but I'm not gonna let it. I know I was threatened. I will never play Skyward Sword again. Anyway, I came out here to sit down and reflect on my choices and the mistakes that have led to this moment. But I think I figured it out. I think I know what Future Melly's been doing all along. He's been playing 4D chess with us this whole time. And I think it's all about... Oh, Heidelin, not again. No, can't you smell my hair? I gotta play it again! No, can't you smell my hair? If he wants an episode, let's give her a f***ing episode. It's not like I have anything better to do with my life. Red Dead Redemption 2. A game that I was very apprehensive to talk about at first. For one, it's such a massive game with so much to do, and the characters and story are so complex that I knew I would never be able to do it justice, and because originally I didn't really like the game. I've not played the original Red Dead Redemption, but I did watch my cousin play it way back when, so I have a good idea of the story, the events, all that. This one though, I started back in 2018, and stopped playing it. For some reason I got bored of it. But this time, I came back to play through the entirety of it. The story anyway. And I loved it. I became obsessed with it. It grabbed me in a way no game had ever grabbed me before. And for the first time... You know what? I'll save that one for later. And the game starts with a group of people running away from something in the snow. Depending on who you ask, this is how we'll look when we're given statehood. In reality though, it'll look more like this. Because it's never going to happen. This is a group of outlaws led by the one and only Dutch Vanderland. I don't know why I like saying his name, Vanderland. A great and honorable man who did something in a place called Blackwater. That's one thing about this game that sticks out to me as odd. At no point in the main story are we told, much less shown, what actually happened in Blackwater. We get a few bits here and there in certain characters' dialogue, but we're never told anything concrete. Which is strange because for such a big, important, apparently, moment that gets brought up every 10 minutes, why not do a flashback at least? That said, maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe there's some quest out there that shows it, but I don't know. As part of the main story, it's never shown. I would have preferred if the game started in medias res as opposed to just in medias res, but what can you do? What is it that pretentious Fire Emblem fans are always saying? Bad writing? I only bring this up because the whole opening sequence is very slow. In fact, I'd go as far as to say it's boring. And the same extends to Chapter 2. Chapter 1 is fairly short, thankfully, but very restricted. It pretty much boils down to go to this one house, climb the mountain, try to kill the bear, which the game does not allow, and try to make the most of it by turning Arthur into a ballerina before carrying on. But nope, Arthur likes to spin before carrying on, but whoops, you get the picture. This is the most fun I had in Chapter 1. It isn't great. Chapter 2 then serves as the game's tutorial, with each main story quest opening up a new major mechanic. These all show you some of the main aspects of Red Dead Redemption 2. Player choice, the importance of your actions, and the freedom you have when it comes to them. It's the Wild West, a setting I've never really liked, personally. It's always been uncanny to me, borderline scary. This aesthetic is half the reason why I don't like Back to the Future 3. The other is because it's bad. This being 1899 America, you can do all the things an outlaw would. Get some guns and go shooting using Deadeye, or as I call it, Cowboy Witch Time. Hunt some animals for their skins or for the meat. Loot dead bodies you find around the world, or those you make dead. This is a Rockstar game after all. You can go to any saloon and drink. Heavily, too heavily, drink so heavily in fact that Red Dead Redemption 2 becomes a Fire Emblem game, and I wouldn't have it any other way. When you approach any NPC, you can greet them, antagonize them, rob them, or, just shoot them. If you commit a crime with people around, you'll become wanted. Any person who witnessed your crime will begin to run. Then they'll report the crime to the law, and the law will begin searching for you and shooting at you. The more you run, or the more people you kill in your escape, the bounty on your head will increase faster than our electric bills thanks to Luma. Fuck Luma. If you manage to escape, you'll still be wanted in the same area, but you can pay your bail at any post office. Though this does not apply to places where you're wanted dead or alive, as those are more story related, there's really no way around them. Every now and then you'll find side quests where you can help random people. Some of these serve as pretty important story bits like Mary Linton's series of quests, which you should absolutely do, but finishing them makes Arthur more honorable. Based on your actions and choices throughout the game, Arthur will either become more honorable by helping people, or dishonorable by stealing or killing. This system gives further weight to the player's choices, as well as making Arthur more complex as a character, along with your own perception of him, letting you choose if he really is a bad guy or if he's a bad guy with a heart of gold. That being said, it isn't a flawless system. Sometimes changes in honor don't really work as you would expect. Like one time I saw this guy struggling with his horse and I thought to help him, only to have his horse kill him and I took the blame for the murder, because I tried to help. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, I guess. Or when collecting a debt from this man, a prompt showed up that said the debt had been collected, so I thought, oh, if I take something else from him, it'll count as stealing and make me dishonorable. But no. I accidentally took another item from him and nothing happened, when I fully expected something to because, I stole from him. And later on in the Saint Denis robbery, when you're forced to steal from the people at the station, you become dishonorable when you have no choice but to steal from them. I mean, I get why, but it felt bad, The honor and dishonor system isn't bad. These examples were isolated enough for me to say, and move on. In truth, I loved it. It made me think more about my actions than I would like to admit, because I really wanted Arthur to not be this bad man he says he is. Your main form of travel through the game, the one companion that's always with you no matter what, is your horse. Horses are essentially the Loftwings of this world, and you're going to spend most of your time traveling on horseback. But they're not like Epona and Ocarina of Time in that they're just a simple vehicle. Here, you need to take care of them. Feed them, keep them clean, it's a lot of work. Horses have different stats, and you can tame ones you see in the wild, buy any available ones in certain towns, or steal other people's horses. You can also change their equipment or the style and color of their mane and tail. You're given the Tennessee Walker to start, but early on you're forced to buy this one really bad horse for $15, which I didn't want to do, so out of spite, I named it Horse. And then I learned you can go northwest after finishing the quest to get the best horse in the game. I tamed it, switched horses, named this one Better Horse, and abandoned Horse in the Snowy Mountain. Though, I'm not heartless. I'm a nobody. As I slowly rode away, I looked back at Horse and reflected upon the memories we made along the way, the times we shared. And through it all, one question remained in my mind. Can I shoot Horse? Every chapter serves as its own standalone story, but connected to the rest, almost as if you're watching a series of movies back to back, each one ending with a short introduction to the next one as if it were an episode of the Melly cinematic universe, making the transition from one plotline to the next, as well as the way each character changes, easier to follow. Chapter 3 has the party escape New Hanover to hide in the state of Lemoyne, a place with a Hatfields versus McCoy situation going on, with a sprinkle of
Romeo and Juliet.
Exactly.
Hey, I was gonna say that. The Greys and the Braithwaites are two families that hate each other, and Dutch realizes we can benefit from the rivalry. But not before stopping to appreciate our surroundings, because this game is beautiful. I don't think I've ever played a game before that has left me this awestruck by the visuals. Anyone who knows me knows I don't really value graphics as much as other people. I find that if the game has a good art style, it'll heavily outweigh whatever graphics it may or may not have. And Red Dead Redemption 2... I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what I can say. It's beautiful. The world is beautiful. I'd make a list of the best looking places, but I can't think of any spots in particular because every single square foot of this place made my jaw drop. Very few times before has a game's world made me fall in love because of how impressive it was. It never gets old standing on top of a mountain and seeing your surroundings, the feeling of being in these wide open spaces, the changes in the environment and weather, the nature, the water, it all feels real. I had never played a game before that impressed me as much as this one visually. Can I take the hat off yet? I hate you so much, Fee. So we come into some power by being deputized by the Greys because the events of West Elizabeth haven't reached this far. They don't know who we are. Arthur serves as the personal mailman for Beau Gray and Penelope Braithwaite, and the time has come to set both families against each other, and we do. As always, Dutch's plan went off without a hitch. Oh. Wait. Mrs. Braithwaite, totally didn't forget her name by the way, I swear, kidnapped John's son, Jack, and the chapter ends in this epic mission to get him back, but he's no longer in the now burnt Braithwaite Manor. He had just been sold to this man named Angelo Bronte, and off we go to the big city in Lemoyne, Saint Denis. It's in Saint Denis that I felt something for the first time ever. Something I never thought I would be able to feel. And no, it's not the feeling that I successfully digested gluten or that I wrote something with my correct hand. I'm still the sinister celiac coffee addict you know and tolerate, I hope. So far, the biggest, most populated areas available to visit, regardless of them being dangerous or not, have been small towns like Valentine or Strawberry. The first time I walked into Saint Denis, what with it being a big city, I was actually in shock. It was so different from the vast open spaces I was used to that I noticed, without having realized, how completely immersed I was in the game. Immersion is not really something I look for. It's never actually clicked with me, no matter what I play or how I play it. And with Red Dead Redemption 2 making me feel it for the first time, it was so surprising and exhilarating. I get why it's so important to so many people. Saint Denis is a town much like New Orleans in aesthetic. I loved walking around to nowhere in particular. Hell, many areas actually made me think I was in Bourbon Street, and it's impressive. Eventually, Bronte invites Dutch to a party with a Saint Denis elite, and of course we go. But then before we go, Dutch brings up a good point.
If we're gonna make it to this party, we sure as shit better clean up a little.
So we're doing this?
Oh yeah.
Maybe he's right. It is pretty hard to shower with this thing on. I should at least change into a fresh set of clothes, right? Alright. Where were we again? Ah, the party. We see a few of the issues plaguing Saint Denis politically and socially, but we're also told a lead for a potential robbery, one large enough that we can escape to Dutch's favorite place in the world, Tahiti. But it was a setup. Bronte betrayed us, so Dutch took some well, preventative measures to keep the group safe and make sure something like this never happened again. I don't know what this says about me as a person, but look, he's not as wholeheartedly good or honorable as, say, Walter White, but he's still good deep down. Everything he did for his family. As for the rest of the Vanderlyn gang, well, listen, I didn't really have the time to get to know them all too well because I had a really tight schedule to get this episode out on time, which I still don't know if I'll make, but we'll see. I really only had time to get to know the main ones, and I can't pick a favorite character, aside from Dutch, of course. He is the leading man. Sadie Adler is a total badass and just a good person all around. Lenny was unbelievably relatable and, he became a Fire Emblem character, so that alone makes him one of the better characters. John, the protagonist of RDR1, his struggle between choosing to keep his family safe or remain loyal to Dutch was fascinating. As for the secondary characters, Rainsfall and Eagleflies were wonderfully compelling from the start and quickly became my favorite characters that weren't directly related to the Vanderlyn gang. Mary Linton was such an amazing character and I really wanted her and Arthur to end up together. Even the bad guys, I would jump every time that guy Milton would show up. And then there's Micah. Micah made me violent. Nothing else to say about him. Why am I not surprised? But of course, at the center of it all, there's Arthur Morgan, the protagonist and player character. Arthur is one of the greatest characters I've ever seen written. Honestly, I don't know what else to say about him. He's amazing from start to finish. Red Dead Redemption 2 is worth playing for Arthur alone.
You and me, we're more ghosts than people.
Nobody's talking to you, Fee. Well, can you keep it to yourself? So Chapter 5. Chapter 5 is set on the fictional, I checked, island of Guarma, off the coast of Cuba. How do we end up here? Isn't it obvious? We went to rob the Sandini Bank, everything went south, Jose was killed along with Lenny even though I swear I tried to save him. We jumped on a boat and that boat went through its own September 20th, 2017 and bam, here we are. There is one thing I need to bring up here. They got everything about Guarma exactly right. The nature, the way the water looks, the architecture. It is all one-to-one exact with what it's meant to represent. I would know. I live in the gentrification-centric rich American tax-free haven that is Richport. I've seen the same things before, just a few times perhaps. People use that as a toilet, by the way. The same attention to detail is present throughout the entirety of Red Dead Redemption 2. Just in literally every single aspect of the game. The way your footsteps as well as your horse's hooves are marked in the snow or the mud. But the one bit of attention to detail that made me fall in love was this one hotel owner. I was supposed to go upstairs, but I wanted to check the downstairs area before proceeding, only for him to tell me that it's upstairs I should be going.
No, they're upstairs, room 2B. Sir!
I don't know if this is a Rockstar thing, as this is the first game I play made by the company. That's right. I've never played a Grand Theft Auto game, as my fellow school children would call it. But if it is, consider me awestruck once more. Infinite props to the development team. Your attention to detail is admirable. After setting fire to a sugar factory and hearing some Spanish that sounded a little bit close to home, not gonna lie, we got back to where we were before, but there's nobody in the house we were staying at. Thankfully, a letter was left behind and we managed to find the group again. Okay, there has to be something I don't like about this game. Oh! The ambush spawns! Every now and then you'll randomly come across a group of enemies standing around in a select area. If they see you, they'll start chasing you and attacking you, and sometimes you can take care of them quickly, but more often than not, they'll kill you with their impeccable aim. Unless you're very well prepared or you see them from 10 miles away or somehow manage to escape them, you will just die. There's no other option. Many times it isn't even a fair challenge, something you can feasibly get through, because they hardly ever miss and their shots do more damage than they have any right to. They are a death tax. And worse than losing $30, $50, $150 to these encounters is them killing your horse. Only for them to kill you before you can take a breath, and the game auto-saves when you respawn. And, you guessed it, Better Horse died. After looking up a way to revive your horses, spoiler, you can't, I had no choice but to go buy a new horse and name this one Betterer Horse. All because of a situation I couldn't control and couldn't respond to. Go ahead, gatekeep all you want, call me names, say I'm bad at the game, get good. Be a real Dark Souls fan. I don't care. These ambush spawns are bullshit. Chapter 5 is the shortest one, and Chapter 6... It begins with Dutch making sure there's no loose ends. He shoots Leviticus Cornwall, and he makes sure Colm O'Driscoll dies. He makes so sure he dies, in fact, that I lost the footage. It's like the old saying goes, you can bring a horse to water, but the horse might evaporate. It's really deep when you think about it. But then, we get the news. Going to meet Sadie at a bar in Saint Denis, Arthur begins coughing uncontrollably and passes out. After going to see a doctor, we're told Arthur has tuberculosis, and it is heart-wrenching to see his condition worsen, seeing his skin get more and more pale and his eyes become sunken and pink. Not only does this serve as a big dramatic moment, but it's also a ticking clock, a constant reminder that Arthur's end is near. It's inescapable, and it gets closer by the minute. The remainder of the chapter has Dutch figure out a way to escape the law once and for all by distracting them with bigger fish to fry. But not before one more heist. After getting some savings bonds from an oil factory, Arthur was hit with some steam, and Dutch...
You ran away?
Oh, I did no such thing. Don't be a fool. They could be back here any minute. We did it, gentlemen. Well, we got some money. And with the train job, well, we got a whole lot of money. Come on. Everything is coming together. Exactly as I planned.
How could you, Dutch? What about the loyalty? Back at camp, we find out the last few remaining members of the group fled. They betrayed Dutch and his generosity towards his family, similar to how everyone betrayed Walter White. But all along, Micah has been the traitor. He's been working with the law, and Dutch doesn't believe us, leading to a final rift in the group.
Dutch, think.
Dutch, be practical now.
Those who side with Micah and those who are capable of thought. Right then, the remnants of the campsite are found by the law, so Arthur and John escape through the cave that's supposed to have Dutch's money. I really thought we'd stop and get it now, but guess not. Because if we had, we wouldn't have a chance to go through the final dramatic choice Arthur has to make. Will he go back for the money, or help John escape to find his family? This is such a poignant moment in the game because it is the end-all be-all tell of the kind of person Arthur is, and it is a parallel to Dutch's change over time. Is his loyalty to money or to his people? Okay, yeah, it's up to the player to choose, but I'm assuming we all chose to help John, right? This is such an epic moment, running away, shooting back. This is it, and Arthur knows it too. He won't make it out of this one. And if he does, he won't live too much longer. This is the end. Reaching the top of the mountain, Betterer Horse fell in battle.
Thank you.
Rest in peace, Betterer Horse. May you rest with your sister, better horse in heaven, and may you never encounter horse in the afterlife. Arthur shares some final words with John before he manages to leave.
We ain't both gonna make it. Go. Now. I'll hold them off. Here. Just take it. You ain't no use to me now. Ain't no more time for talk. Go. Arthur. Go to your family. Arthur! Get the hell out of here and be a goddamn man. You're my brother. I know. I know.
But Micah shows up. Shut up, Fee. No one's talking to you. This is the game's final fight, and it's tense. Seeing Arthur fight while struggling to remain alive for as long as he can, giving John time to escape. Wait! I forgot to talk about the fist fights. Oh well, too late now. In the end, Arthur falls, but there's a chance. If we can just make it to the gun.
It is over. Now. Arthur. It's over.
It isn't over, Dutch! How could you? And despite giving him all he had, Dutch let Micah shoot Arthur in the face. I regret to confirm that this is one of the bad endings for Arthur. But I saw the best one. I have regrets and emotions. So many emotions. Arthur's death it's the first death to make me feel genuine despair since the one in Xenoblade 3. You know exactly the one I'm talking about. It completely destroyed me, even though I knew it was coming. I saw it get closer and closer. It is still one of the saddest, most shocking moments in any game I've ever played, and now knowing what happens in the good ending, it makes the whole thing even worse. But before you can process what happened or wipe your tears, the screen changes to say a few years later. Arthur's death is not the actual end of the game. Instead, there's 2 epilogue chapters with John as the main character. But I'm sorry. John's chapters will have to wait for another day. I had such a tight schedule to get this video out on time, I only managed to record the beginning of John's first chapter. So, for all intents and purposes, John escaped and fell off a bridge with his carriage. The end. Don't worry though, I will come back to the game and finish a few more things in my own time. Trust me, I'm not ready to let it go yet. Honestly, I am surprised. Surprised by how much I fell in love with the game, with the world, with the story, with the characters. It's not often that a game just makes me fall in love the way this one did. I love Red Dead Redemption 2. More than I should. I really wish I had more time to see more of what the game had to offer. More time to explore, to do quests, to just run around freely, but I couldn't. It was a transformative experience. One I won't soon forget. And at the very least, it helped cleanse my palate from Skyward Sword, which... just want to take the hat off already. I'm gonna go get Fee. Hang on a second. Fee? Where the hell is Fee? You're telling me I could have taken the hat off this whole time? Ah!